Without the light, am I a guardian at all anymore? What does it mean to be chosen? You know, what does it mean to be special in this world? What does it mean to have a higher power, a higher authority choose you?
Okay, now I'm getting worried. So I apologize in advance for sounding, you know, congested, because I am, because the frickin' pollen out here sucks. So I posted a video a week ago addressing my concerns I had with Destiny 2, particularly with the story and their direction, and one of the things I mentioned was how theocratic the game was made to sound. And now in this latest interview, they are talking about some higher authority choosing Guardians for their power, for some greater purpose, and that legitimately concerns me. This isn't meant to be some kind of anti-religious thing or pro-atheist thing, but I don't want the game to be a fucking trip. I don't want to have a religious experience shoved down my throat. I mean, they could do something similar, have like those kinds of themes in the game and not be like the central thing that you are experiencing, and if it's done well, I wouldn't mind it, and I could have my own experience, but I want my experience to be my own. I don't want them telling me what I am experiencing. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. Leave in the comments down below if that makes sense. Anyway, they reveal a bit more about what the story direction is going to be, and they're talking about the sense of loss that the players are going to be having, and I'm not totally convinced we're going to have that. Like, the NPCs around you, sure, they're going to be having their own experiences, and we are going to be living through them vicariously, and they're going to be getting their own stories, but us as players, I don't, apart from our guns and armor in previous stuff, we won't be losing much apart from progress we'll have to remake. Now, if some of the other characters we haven't seen in the game yet were to have died, that would be significant enough to make us feel like we are fighting for something. Like, Master Rahul has not made an appearance yet. Amanda Holiday was there very briefly, but we haven't seen her since. So we do have that one brief scene of our Guardian walking through the city of all these uprooted civilians, which is enough to make me want to fight for these people, but still, it's still not us, and it's still not as impactful, because right now they're just blank faces. Which sounds cold, but they don't have the story or the significance behind them to make us really care, apart from being like a decent human being. But they also talk about how we've lost our power, our light, how Superman has become Clark Kent permanently, which doesn't make sense to me, because we immediately gain our subclasses back. Like, we gain our power back. It's mentioned by Zavala that we find our light again. So are they mentioning this about Zavala and Ikora and Cade? Because if that's the case, we're talking about stories about them, not us. Do our Guardians, do we get our own story, or are we just literally, as I said before, living vicariously through them currently? Since the end of Year 1 Destiny, we have been these mute characters who just kind of cause things to happen. We have no stake in the world apart from getting new gear. We are literally just players in a video game. I want to feel a part of that world apart from being there. So they have mentioned before, even in this interview, that they are exploring the idea of what it means to be a Guardian, and that seems to be the central theme of this game. They also mention that a Guardian is more than just the gear that they carry, implying that light is more than just a number that you find on a new piece of gear. But I am worried now that they're going to have some kind of like religious pretense to it, or we're only going to be exploring this idea through other characters like Zavala and not through our character ourselves. We aren't going to go out there and explore and find out and like discover what it means to be a Guardian in and of ourselves. We're going to learn about it through other characters. And done well, this could work, but I will also feel less inclined to connect to it because it's not my character, it's not me. Now, they go on to talk about how D1 was this foundational setup for the rest of their games and the rest of their world, to which I had 2 giant middle fingers to them for. I mean, I'm honestly surprised they openly admit that, because that is up for some major backlash. They've implied that the first game was just an experiment set up for future games and really didn't matter. Like, that honestly makes me feel taken advantage of, especially with the amount of time, energy, and money I invested into the game. Further, given the unfinished state the game shipped in, it just implies that they didn't work on it as much as they should have, or cared about it as much as they could have, because they knew it was this just setting up point. It was a stepping stone. It didn't matter all that much. It mattered a hell of a lot to me and to a lot of other players, and to just, even if this is just a brushing to the side of the last game, oh, we know its flaws, but that game doesn't matter anymore, we have this new better game, is also also insulting. Yeah, they also mention that they ask a lot of questions and don't give too many answers, and then under the guise of, oh, we'll fill it in later, like some kind of edgy mystique thing, like have this air of mystery in the game. Oh, what does this mean? Without actually giving us any context at all to even imply anything. You can do that. You can be mysterious and have all these questions and give us like fragments of information and do it right. Dark Souls has done that. Bloodborne has done that. You guys didn't do that. What you guys had was a studio that didn't know what they wanted to write. What you had was a bunch of ideas that were all individually cool but unfinished, and you tried to tie up a couple of them with DLC later, but never addressed an overarching story or theme or idea which would have glued it all together nicely. So basically, I'm just asking that you guys have addressed that in this game. You can have as many small stories within the game that you want. They could be well written and have lots of character progression and cool ideas, but they need to be running under that central theme in order to be successful. And what gives me a glimmer of hope is that they are refocusing on the Traveler, which they have not talked about since Vanilla Destiny, as they say. So that might be their central idea that they are gravitating to, which would make sense with all of this higher power BS and what it means to be a Guardian themes that they are bringing up. And since the Traveler is on the damn cover of the game and is the whole reason why the world within Destiny exists, makes sense that it's the glue that holds the game together. Still, again, worried it's going to be theocratic. They say they spent a lot of time world building, and I can believe it. There's a lot in this game. This game has tons of potential. Just look at the fucking Grimoire. It's amazing. I get more excited about this game and can talk about it for hours because of the Grimoire and everything they've put into it. And now they are saying they are ready to tell those epic, expansive, huge cinematic stories they promised us 3 years ago. And they best damn deliver. They go so far as to boast that people are going to be complaining about how much story is in the game, and I've played Dragon Age Inquisition, and I just finished Andromeda. We'll see. Alright, those were just my initial reactions to the Destiny 2 creating the story of a Lightless World by IGN, which is a misleading title because the world still has light because we're still using it! What do you guys think of the video and my thoughts on it? Please leave your comments down below, and remember to like and subscribe for more content. I've been Epsy, and I will see you next time.